Hello StarCraft fans, this is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. This is a game between csko and VampyWorm on Prion Terraces. I know somebody's going to go ahead and correct me sometime soon and say it's actually Prion Terraces, but I'm going to call it Prion at this point because it sounds better to me, and this is my cast. In the bottom right of Prion Terraces, we have the red Zerg player. It is csko. I assume that's how that's pronounced. It could just be csko, but csko is so much easier to say. And in the top left of Prion Terraces, we have the blue Protoss player. It is VampyWorm, representing Team Ascension. The logo looks a little washed out. I've seen the Team Ascension logo before, and it looks a little bit better in the beta of Legacy of the Void as well as Heart of the Swarm, but that might need to be edited here in the retail version of Legacy of the Void. Alright, PvZ on Prion Terraces. I think we've seen this match before on this very map. But again, the best thing about StarCraft is that every game is different. Okay, not every game, but it's very, very hard to see the exact same strategy used, the exact same battles fought. But either way, there is a hatchery coming up. And no gas, no spawning pool yet from csko, more of a macro play. There is not a Nexus first from Vampy. He is not quite crazy enough to go for that. He's going to go for a gateway expanded, indeed. Has the gateway about halfway completed and then throws down the Nexus. And then I think he's going to start on his gas. I have to assume he will do that when he has enough minerals to do so. Or is he just saving for a cyber core? Nope, going for that double gas. There it is, a simulator 1 and a simulator 2. And there's the gas and the spawning pool coming up for csko as well. It's a little bit late, which tells me that csko wants to get that economy up and running rather than be too aggressive against Protoss. I have seen Zerg players on my channel bemoaning the state of ZBP, where it feels like they can't attack Protoss early because Photon Overcharge is so available and so readily powerful for Protoss players that Roaches and Lings just don't really stand a chance. I mean, I've seen players like Tang go for some early Roach harassment and do pretty well, but for the most part, I feel like that Photon Overcharge is just really super intimidating. So I think Zerg players prefer to sit back, defend what comes their way, macro up, have an army ready to meet Protoss when they move out from the safety of those pylons and try to win the game that way, which is pretty much how it's always been, I think. All through StarCraft 2 is the general strategy for Zerg. I just like to see more aggressiveness. The thing that can be nice, though, about a turtling up Protoss player is that Lurkers are a new siege unit available to Zerg players. You can set up out here, use the Lurkers to spine up and kill buildings on the ramp from a range of 9, which is really hard to reach for the Protoss player. Colossus have a range of 9. Which means they can have the same range as Lurkers and get hit as they are hitting. But everything else kind of has to go in the range of those dangerous spines, and that really causes a problem for Protoss. I haven't really seen them used as a siege unit that much by Zerg, but perhaps this replay will be one that they are. There's Metabolic Boost on the way for the Zerg player, making those Zerglings a little bit faster. Okay, a lot of it faster, giving them those wings that everybody knows them for. Twilight Council on the way for VampyWorm, possibly going for Blinkstalker. Blinkstalker seems to be very popular in Legacy of the Void. Heart of the Swarm, you would see it if it was a pure Blinkstalker type thing, or if you're going into the late game, but it seems like more and more Protoss players in Legacy of the Void are pretty much going for Blink no matter what. I don't know if it's because they feel like they have extra resources available to do so, but I have a 95% feeling that Vampy's going to go for that Blink here as soon as that Twilight Council finishes. And as it warps in, let's see what he does. Is it going to be Blink? Oh no, it's actually a Dark Shrine. Man, I'm so bad at predicting this stuff. Going right for the Dark Templar. Surprising play from Vampy. I don't know that we've seen players go directly for the Dark Templar and ZVP, but it has been something I've seen worked into later game harassment. Inject, Queen. Inject. You just made this into a lair. You can inject. Come on, Queen. Anyway, later game harassment, kind of working them into army compositions, but for early DT harass, not something I've seen very much of on my channel. So I could be wrong. Maybe it's happening all the time on the ladder, but I really don't think that I am. There goes that inject. A little bit late, Queen, but that's okay. That is A-okay. So I turned down the music a little bit. I turned up the sound effects a little bit. I believe that was kind of the consensus on my channel. You can hear the music, right? The really crazy, intense music that makes me feel like I need to go jump off a building and do parkour. Isn't that super intense? Yes, yes it is. Really gets your heart rate up. And I believe the sound effects should be a little bit louder too. You can hear these drones popping out. You can hear queens injecting on hatcheries. You can hear spore crawlers being built. Blah, 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 blah. Alright, Zerg players, I know I've said this before, but I'm going to keep saying it till everybody does it. If your queens have extra energy available to them, say they have 200 energy, you can inject, consecutive inject on your hatcheries to create consecutive spawn larva spells. So you inject on a hatchery 4 times, you get 4 consecutive perfect injects, spawning larvae on a perfect schedule. It's really amazing. You have to do it. And here come the DT. Oh boy, VampyWorm with 3 Dark Templar. Are there Spore Crawlers up? There are Spore Crawlers here at the front door. Oh boy, the spines poke. Oh, 1 Dark Templar, very low in health. It does end up dead. 2 more coming on into the main base though, and there's no Spore Crawlers here. The drones are forced to evacuate as they get hacked to death by these DTs. Look at this, lots of them falling here. The DT's going after the lair. If they can get it, that'd be a nice pickup. One can't decide, doesn't want to go after that Hydralisk den actually. Is there an Overseer is the question. Yes, it is spawning now. And there it is. Can they get it before the Hydralisk den falls? No! Forcing a cancel on that Hydralisk den. And 1 Dark Templar dies. This one trying to run away, but I mean at this point there's an Overseer, there's a Queen. It's never going to happen. Can the Queen kill this before she ends up dead? Ooh, it's very close indeed. The Lings jump in to take over, and the Dark Templar does get evaporated there. Hydralisk den popping down. It builds pretty quickly. I don't think forcing a cancel there was a huge pickup for VampyWorm by any stretch, but again, it's pretty much even at this point. 72 to 73 total, just total supply. 49 to 54 workers, and here comes a giant Ling swarm. They could cancel that Nexus if they see it. Don't go up the ramp. Go check out the Nexus. csko, look. There are probes transferring. Oh, csko, where's your attention? He's taking a 4th base, which is good. He already has this gold base here on another gold base. This is the gold base map, man. This is all about that extra economy, extra income you get from those gold mineral patches. And it kind of throws people off on that way, but holy smokes, Lings. You could have you need to move your Lings, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Actually killing his own pylon, and there the Lings go, but I think it's a little bit too late. They get a surround on the Nexus. Another couple Lings comes to kind of drag the Zealots away. Is this enough Lings to actually force a cancel on that Nexus? I think it is, and indeed, they kill the Nexus, not even a cancel at all. The Lings get on into the natural base here as well. They're going to try to swing on up to the main, but a last-second warp-in of Zealots, that's not going to happen. An Archon at the bottom of the ramp as well, and a bunch of Zealots hacking to death at the Zerglings. They try to go for the Nexus, but that does not happen at all. More Lings rock on in here. Can they do get a probe? Can they get this Nexus as well? They're going to try to get a surround on it. Once again, where is the army to try to prevent this from happening? And yes, I think the Nexus is going to survive here. Very, very close though, indeed. Oh, forces the cancel? This constant pressure from Lings is just insane from csko. Not doing super well on the injects, but I like the consistent canceling there. That new warp animation is just so beautiful. I love to see that. And alright, so macro hatch. I like to see macro hatches from my Zerg players. A hive is on the way, as well as +2 melee attack. Centrifugal hooks. Is he going Banelings against Protoss? Possibly Baneling Rain. Oh, that could be interesting indeed. So there are Banelings here in the middle of nowhere. That's kind of dangerous because if armies show up, they can kind of kill them from a distance. Then your Banelings are dead. Creep spread is non-existent for csko, so let's make sure we do that, Zerg players, as well. Here come the Zealots, and Banelings crashing down on all of them, killing every single Zealot, but the Archons are still alive. They are out for blood. More Banelings morphing in for csko. Really? Banelings against Archons? I don't know about this life choice that you're making here. Banelings don't even finish. Archons get right on in. Spine Crawlers trying to save what they can. Drones being forced to be pulled off the line as well, deciding not to attack the 3rd base. Instead, marching right up into the natural. 2 spines here. Some pretty good static defense. Roaches being pulled and holding the Archons here while the spines do their work. Spore Crawler trying to take out that Mothership Core, and Queen does going to finish it off. Queen almost finishes off that Mothership Core, but Vampy keeps it alive. Oh, no, it does end up falling. Roaches popping out individually, but they are getting killed. Archons, Stalker, and an Adept trying to just lay waste to the 2nd base. More units coming on down. They are Zealots. The Archons do have, oh my goodness, 20 kills on that one, 6 kills on that one. These drones are forced to retreat away, but retreating right past an Archon. There's nowhere to go. Ouch! They are all going to get destroyed. They're trying to hide in the corner, but the Zealot has their number. Don't want to go in there because there are definitely spines. More Roaches popping on in with some good micro. csko might be able to hold this off, but man, more and more Roaches popping out here, and they did get an Archon trying to regroup. They do have Glue Reconstitution, which means they can kite fairly well. Archon 23 kills on that one, and yes. I think finally the roaches should be able to deal with this. Getting right on top of that Archon, taking the splash damage though. Finally the Archon does end up dead. The Adept and the Zealot get cleaned up. It is 49 to 64 Harvesters, 92 to 85 supply. Surprisingly, csko managing to keep up. I guess these two gold bases are really helping with his income. He has a ton of minerals available, so he's going to go ahead and recreate all of those workers that he lost in that last attack. And it was a lot of drones. 37 drones have died in this game in a single probe. csko in a bad way, but again, not too far behind VampyWorm in the probe count. I think forcing a cancel on this base a couple times was fantastic. Vampy choosing not to take the gold over here, instead taking the blue mineral patches up here. And here comes some roaches with +2 armor. No missile attack. Disruptors on the way though for VampyWorm. Not looking good, if I do say so myself. Disruptors are the natural enemy of roaches. They do one-shot the roach with the Purification Nova. If you haven't seen Disruptors, here they are. Shoots out a ball of energy that lasts 2 seconds and emits a powerful Nova, dealing 145 splash damage and an additional 55 shield damage to nearby ground units and structures. The Disruptor is immobile while this is active. So 2 ways to deal with Disruptors I've seen is just split, right? Kind of dodge them. And the other one is to kill the Disruptor before the Purification Nova can explode. That can be hard to do because it only takes about 2 seconds for that grenade to go off. The one thing I did see, though, is a Zerg player against Whiterun actually used Vipers to use the Abduct ability on the Disruptors, and that worked beautifully. I haven't seen it since, but I don't cast a whole lot of pro games, so I don't know if that's popular among the pro ranks or what. I'm still trying to get more and more professional StarCraft 2 players, especially from Korea, on my channel. Whiterun promised to send me another replay pack here in about a week or so. Zerglings dying to Purification Nova. Not really a super fair trade, I don't think. csko's probably happy about that, but here comes the Roach. Oh, Roaches and Hydras from the bottom side. Roaches and Banelings from the right side, warping in more and more Stalkers. Everything on top of everything. One Disruptor in the front does get sniped down. Another one in the back waiting for that cooldown to back on off, but the Archons are just laying waste to the Roach Hydra here. Regrouping as Vampy and then coming back on in once more. Roach Hydra trying to hold their own against this Archon composition. One Archon does end up falling. Purification Nova kills a ton of Hydralisks. 11 kills on that Disruptor. The Roaches are just outmatched and outnumbered. The Stalkers are here right on top of everything. +2 attack, +1 armor. Bodies are exploding and flying into the air. More Roaches come down, but this just isn't enough. It really isn't. That Disruptor's in the wrong place, though. Can it get sniped down by the Roaches? They tried to chase it, but no, this is way too many Stalkers. With the +2 attack, they do 16 damage versus armored, which is what Roaches are. They shoot very quickly as well, just kind of standing at the bottom of the ramp, and that's it. csko's defeated, VampyWorm's victorious, and csko has left the game. So yeah, pretty good Zergling harass from the early game from csko. I liked it. The Roach Hydra composition was pretty good as well, but in the end, the Disruptor hits were just too much for csko. He ran out. That attack earlier at his second base really just caused him a lot of grief. He lost a ton of workers that way. Vampy ended the game with 76 probes to 46 drones. Good gravy. You're not going to win against Protoss that way for sure, Zerg players. So again, fantastically played from VampyWorm. Did not let the early harassment get him down. He continued to rebuild, continued to macro, and got it done. So that's about it. Thank you so much for watching today. This has been Falcon Paladin with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. Thanks for joining me. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me at Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook, all at /Falcon Paladin. You can also enjoy the music at the end of the cast. Also a link to my new store with awesome t-shirts, with awesome Zerg logos and Falcon Paladin logos and Protoss and Terran stuff. That is just really fantastic. I encourage you to check that out. Really fun stuff for the Christmas present for the StarCraft 2 player in your family. All right, so again, thank you so much for watching and for your support on my channel over these last few months. And until next time, as always, you take care of yourself.